Hello everyone, warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in the next and a very important session where we will be discussing the important current affairs from the finance world for 13th and 14th of May. So before I start with the discussion guys, if you want to download the PDF of this particular session that is available on my Telegram channel, you can join this particular channel in order to download the PDF, and the PDF will be available just after the session itself. I'm really very sorry for joining the session late. There was some technical issue. I was not able to go live, but I guess now I am audible, visible, everything is fine. We are good to go. So just let me know in the comment section, are we good to go? Give me a thumbs up so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Guys, before I start today's discussion, I have a very important announcement to make. And the announcement for today's session is going to be very important, and you are going to learn many new things as always. But along with this, there will be, or I would say today's session is going to be not bit lengthy. It's not going to be bit lengthy, but it will include immense information which you need to understand one by one with me. And I can assure you, if you're doing this, you will be able to write the descriptive answer as well, which can be asked from the news which I'm going to discuss. ठीक है जी? Got it? Fine. Are we good to go? Acha. Because of technical issue, I was not even able to share the link of this session. So I would request you quickly copy the link of this session, guys. Share it with your friends so that more and more students, they can join us live and they can have the benefit of this particular session. Quickly guys, if you haven't shared the link yet, I would request you quickly share the link. I'm also doing it for you side by side. So, guys, how many of you are aware of a term that is foreign portfolio investment? We all know that foreign portfolio investment basically means the investment done by the foreign entities in the country, and the investment is done in share market, or I would say the investment is done in the financial instrument. That would be a better word. And when we talk about financial instruments, we have equity instruments as well as we have debt instruments. Since January 2025, listen to me, since January 2025, RBI has updated the criteria for FPI investment in debt security 3 times. So I will be sharing the latest one, which will cover January wala announcement, March wala announcement, and even the latest announcement which has been done in the month of May. So I'm pretty sure कि आज का जो session है, that is going to be really very important for everyone. And as always, once we'll complete this session, I will be expecting the feedback in the comment section. कैसा लगा session? क्या आपको लगता है कि this kind of descriptive question is possible in the examination? If yes, it is possible, then I'm pretty sure you will love to have the discussion on the same. ठीक है जी, चलिए तो start करें. But as always, चाहे क्लास लेट शुरू हुई है, जो भी है, will quickly revise the questions from the previous session. I hope you all are ready. Many of the students have joined us. Thank you so much for joining. Let's begin the discussion. So here we go with the first question of the evening, guys. The first question of the evening is now on your screen. The question says, consider the following statement regarding RBI recognition of FIMDA as self-regulatory organization. I hope you remember we have discussed this term, FIMDA, self-regulatory organization. Let's read out these statements. FIMDA has been officially recognized by RBI as self-regulatory organization for financial market. That is absolutely correct. RBI introduced a detailed framework for recognizing SRO in financial market in August 2024. Guys, please make the correction. In the PDF, जब मैंने ब्रैकेट में ये मेंशन किया था, वो ऑटो करेक्ट हो गया. आई रोट अगस्त, मैंने शायद स्पेलिंग देखे नहीं, वो ऑटो करेक्ट पे अप्रैल आ गया, तो आप उसे सही कर लीजिएगा. FIMDA is the second entity to be recognized under the new SRO. No sir, this is absolutely wrong, because FIMDA is the first organization, first SRO under this category. As an SRO, FIMDA is expected to operate within the RBI defined guidelines and promote the standardized market operation. बिल्कुल सही है. One of the key goals of this recognition is to enhance transparency in functioning of financial market. That is also correct. So only third statement is incorrect. Rest all the statements are correct. So I'll go with C option, which says 1, 2, 4 and 5 are the correct answers. 1, 2, 4 and 5 are the correct answer. Very good. Love to see that. Girish, Abhinav, Sam, Sri, Saloni, Shalini for giving the correct answer. अगर आप लोग ऐसे correct answers देंगे, obviously it will boost my confidence as well कि ठीक है यार, the way I am covering the data, the way I am covering the content for you, it is really helping you because you are in a position to answer these questions in the class. अगर आप ये क्वेश्चन आज क्लास में आंसर कर पा रहे हैं, ट्रस्ट मी गाइस, यू विल बी एबल टू आंसर दीज क्वेश्चन इन द एग्जामिनेशन ऑल्सो. इससे डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन एग्जामिनेशन में आएगा नहीं रिलेटेड टू दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक. चलो, moving on to the next question. The next question says, consider the following statements regarding the framework. किसका framework? So framework of SRO. और ये जो framework for SRO है, it is almost common for all the different or for, I would say, for all the SROs in different sectors, in different industries. ठीक है जी. तो उसके बेसिस पे कुछ objectives लिखे हैं. Let's find out which all options are correct. So the framework is based on omnibus framework which is issued by RBI. बिल्कुल सही है. RBI ने एक फ्रेमवर्क बना दिया ओमनीबस और कहा कि जितने भी एसआरओ के लिए मैं नोटिफिकेशंस निकालूंगा, जितने भी एसआरओ के अपॉइंटमेंट्स के लिए मैं वैकेंसी, मान लो आपको ज्यादा समझ आता है इन दैट मैटर, तो जितनी भी नोटिफिकेशंस आउट होगी फॉर अ एप्लीकेंट, if the applicant wants to apply to become an SRO, in that particular case I will be following the criteria mentioned under omnibus. That is correct. Recognized SRO must only fulfill or follow the minimum standards laid out in the framework and are restricted from going beyond them. Okay. SROs are expected to promote culture of compliance and implement a comprehensive code of conduct for its members. That is true. The framework encourages SROs to act as a collective voice of their members and address the issues. Yes, SROs are required to foster innovation, support small entities, or I would say give special attention to the smaller entities. That is also correct. लेकिन क्या आपको ये B ऑप्शन सही लग रहा है? So minimum standards are the guidelines which you have to follow. But if you are going beyond it, that means you are helping the RBI, you are helping the organizations, you are helping the sector to grow. So answer is going to be D option. Second option is incorrect. Rest 1, 3, 4, 5 are correct. So answer is going to be D option. Moving on to the next question. Next question talks about the following statement regarding SRO framework again. अब SRO framework पे एक नहीं, दो नहीं, I have 3 questions so that you can revise it and obviously this is going to help you a lot. So what does the question says? SRO must establish a grievance redressal and dispute resolution mechanism. That is correct. SROs are required to create awareness among the public about the operations and grievances grievance mechanism of the members. Okay. And SRO is expected to submit a quarterly report. क्या सर SRO quarterly report देगा? नहीं सर, SRO will submit annual report to RBI and that too within 6 months of the completion of the financial year. The Reserve Bank of India may inspect or arrange for an independent inspection of SRO books, and expenses of such expenses are going to be bared by SRO. That is true. SRO must provide timely and comprehensive feedback. That is also true. So tell me guys, third statement is incorrect. Rest all the statements are correct. So answer is going to be 1, 2 and 4, 5 only. So C option is the correct answer. C option is the correct answer. Again, many of you have given the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. The next question is again based on the SRO, but it is based on eligibility criteria of SRO. So if I talk about the eligibility criteria of SRO, applicant must be a for-profit company. नहीं sir, यही गलत हो गया. Applicant if coming forward to set up an SRO. So SRO, I would say the SRO must be a for-profit company incorporated under Companies Act. No sir. The minimum net worth requirement is 10 crores. Yes sir. No single entity or group acting in concert should have or should hold 10% or more paid up share capital of the application SRO. That is true. At the time of application, the applicant must already have full sectoral representation across. नहीं sir, अभी तो आपको कोई जानता ही नहीं है. No one knows you. So in that particular case, you will be having the representation from the entire sector. No. Applicant and its directors must demonstrate professional competency, or I would say they are, capable enough. So that is true. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 and 5 are the correct answer. 2, 3, 5. That means B option is the correct answer. That means B option is the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. The next question says at least 1/3 of the members of board must be independent directors. That is true. That is true. Article of association must specify criteria for membership actions such as admission, exclusion, suspension. That is true. SRO is required to report any change in board composition or adverse information about any director to RBI at the time of annual review. नहीं जी सर, अगर किसी organization ने if the organization has not fulfilled the compliance, in that particular case, RBI, SRO will inform the RBI right away. So it's not the information will be forwarded in the annual report. No, it will be forwarded right away. Reserve Bank may revoke recognition if the SRO function in a manner. Yes, sir, RBI has the power to revoke. RBI has the power to revoke the registration if SRO is not working as per the guidelines. So that is also true. So answer is going to be A option. 1, 2 and 4 are the correct answers. ठीक है जी. Last question of the evening. This is related to Bhutan's national cryptocurrency tourism payment system. I hope you remember this news. This news has a great potential. It can be asked for sure in your phase 1 examination. So what this news is all about? The first question, the first sentence or the statement, the system is a collaboration between Binance Pay and Bhutan's first fully digital bank, that is DK Bank. Digital bank, that is DK Bank. That is absolutely correct. Tourists can use more than 100 cryptocurrencies including Bitcoin, Binance Coin and many more. That is also true. System required tourists to carry international debit or credit card that are crypto enabled. No. Sir, this is an application like PhonePe. Application download karo, transaction karo. Here you don't need any kind of banking or financial instrument. Payment made in the cryptocurrency are converted to the Bhutanese currency by the DK Bank. I don't know why it is taking up RBI. So by the DK Bank, ensuring price stability for the vendors. That is true. QR code based transaction enable real time payments even in remote areas. That is true. So only third statement is correct. Sorry, wrong. Rest all the statements are correct. So answer is going to be C option. Is it clear, everyone? So those who were present in the previous session, they must have enjoyed it. If you were not present in the previous session, nothing to worry. कल से जरूर आना, नेक्स्ट क्लास से जरूर आना. पहले 10 मिनट इस सेशन के बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज इन द फर्स्ट 10 मिनट्स वी डिस्कस द क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस सेशन. आर वी गुड टू गो? लेट्स स्टार्ट द डिस्कशन गाइस. Let's start today's session. Are you ready? Let's start today's session. Are you guys ready? If you guys are ready, give me yes, sir. If you guys are ready, give me yes, sir. ठीक है. First, I have phase 1 level news, 2 or 3, just to set the, I would say, stage. Once the stage is set, once we are tight, then we will be moving on to the last master direction, the master stroke of this session as always. ठीक है जी. So I move on to the first news. The first news of the evening talks about what? Porter. I hope you have heard about this Porter. Porter is basically a logistic company which allows you to book a two-wheeler, even a car or a four-wheeler, even the commercial vehicles in order to send packages from one place to another, and it provides intra-city services. It provides intra-city services. So why Porter is in news? A Porter is in news. The reason behind that why Porter is in news, a Porter is in news because it has become the third unicorn of 2025. So in 2025 till now, two Indian companies have been declared as unicorns, but Porter has become the third company. Now the question is, so what do you understand by the word unicorn? So unicorn का मतलब है the company with a valuation of $1 billion. If a company is having a valuation of more than $1 billion, then that particular company is basically termed as what? Sir, it is basically, or I would say the startup with a brand valuation of $1 billion is known as unicorn. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया? No problem. Now, what all things are important from this particular news? So first point which is important, that Porter has become Porter has become the third unicorn of 2025. These figures are not important. I have just given you for your reference what is the meaning of Series F funding. अब ये Series F funding का मतलब क्या है? ध्यान से समझो. Guys, let's say I started a new business. Obviously, it will be termed as a startup. Over the period of time, my business is doing well. But in order to expand my business, I need funds. Hana? In order to expand my business, I need funds. Let's say me and my friend, we both have started a new business. Now our business is doing well. Everyone wants to become the investor, everyone wants to become the equity holder in a business in order to share the profit, and we are also ready because we started a business by investing just 10 lakh rupees, but right now our business valuation is around 10 cr because of the services, because of the user base we have. So in that particular scenario, me and my friend, we decided that we will be liquidating our 10% shareholding, and these 10% shareholding will be liquidated. Means we will be selling 10% shares of each one of us, and we will be giving it to the investor. Investor means the one who wants to invest in our company. This is known as private placement. This is known as private placement because my company is not a public company. I cannot sell, I cannot issue my company's share on stock exchanges. That is not possible. So I will be finding out the investors, or investors will find me, will sit on table, will make the deal, will dilute our shares against the funds which we are going to receive. So that is known as raising the investment. What is it known as? It is known as raising the investment. So if I talk about raising the investment, this was the Series F. अब ये Series F का मतलब क्या है? If you want to understand this point, क्योंकि this comes in newspaper n number of times, Series F means it is a funding round, which is a sixth major round where a company is raising the funds from the public, where the company is raising the funds from the private investors through the private placement. So Series A is the first round of funding, then B, then C, then D and E. If next time anywhere it is written Series B, समझ जाना कि ये जो कंपनी है it is raising the investment for the second time. If it is written Series D, समझ जाना ये वो कंपनी है who has raised or who is raising or who has just raised the investment for the fourth time. That means they have diluted their shares recently for the fourth time. That is what I'm trying to say. Coming back to the news. Now what the news says, so the news says Porter has become the third unicorn of the country after these two companies. These were the first two unicorns declared in 2025, and the third one is Porter. Do remember the name of all these three organizations, very important. Porter, as I already discussed, what is it, sir? It is an urban logistic which majorly focuses on MSME and empowering the gig economy workers. Gig economy worker means freelancers. So most of the delivery boys who are working with Porter, they are freelancing. They are working, or they have tied up with Porter on per ride commission basis. So that is the reason we call it as gig economy workers. So it is a mix of primary capital infusion and secondary share sales, which means it is Series F. It is Series F. So we have many investors. तो कुछ तो नए shares issue किए गए and कुछ already जो shares किसी investor के पास थे उस investor ने अपने shares को dilute किया. So it was a combination. ये technical term याद नहीं करनी. आई एम नॉट हेयर आई एम सेइंग यू कि ये याद कर लेना, पोर्टर से रिलेटेड ऐसा कोई पूछेगा. ऑब्वियसली आई एम नॉट डम, नीदर यू आर. But why I am discussing these terms? If you have the clarity on these terms, you can digest the finance newspapers, finance examination in a better manner. That is what I am trying to say. So in order to expand the operation, this I would say funding has been raised, and after the raising of this funding, its valuation has crossed the mark of $1 billion, and that is the reason Porter is termed as the third unicorn of India in 2025. तो क्या क्या याद रखना? Porter, third unicorn, first two unicorns you need to remember, and along with that, what else you need to remember? So along with that, you need to remember what is the actual meaning of this trade A, B, C, D, E, F. That is it. Is it fine? Nothing new? Chalo. Let's move ahead to the second news. The second news talks about, but before I jump to the second news, I have also given the brief history of Porter. It's for you only. Just read it. I'm not going to discuss it, but पढ़ लेना, थोड़ा feel आ जाता. When we get to know about the things, we tend to memorize, we tend to retain the news for a longer term. Moving on to the second news, full of, I would say, facts, full of data which you need to remember. UPI QR code recorded the fastest growth in digital payment infrastructure. Guys, you all must be using UPI. है ना, हम सब UPI use करते हैं, which is, I think, in today's scenario, it is part and parcel of our life. So, if you want to make a payment through UPI, what you can do, sir? Either you can scan the QR code of the receiver, even you can enter the registered mobile number of the receiver, even you can ask the receiver to share their virtual payment address, and on the basis of that virtual payment address, which is shared by the user, you can send the funds. But out of all these and other methods on the basis of which you can send the funds through UPI, the majority transactions are based on QR code. So if this question is asked, with the help of UPI, we can send and receive funds instantly. But there are many ways, or there are different ways to send and receive the funds. Out of all those different ways, highest number of transactions are recorded under which method or under which mode? Then your answer should be, it is under QR code. That means you scan the QR code, you make the payment. This is the highest number of transactions which are done on the UPI platforms. Now, I'm not discussing this news alone. I will be completing the entire UPI data. 2024-25 का डेटा भी दे दूंगा, अप्रैल 2025 का डेटा भी दे दूंगा, ताकि you are ready for UPI part. So please pay attention, guys. According to the latest data which has been shared by RBI, it says that Unified Payment Interface QR codes recorded the fastest growth in the digital payment infrastructure, with a 91.5% jump over the previous year. So it has recorded 91.5% jump over the previous years. Credit card transactions, they have slowed down. Debit card transaction growth is modest. Credit card transaction has slowed down, and debit card transaction is almost, I would say, same, or it has witnessed a rise of only 2.7%. But if I say the expansion of QR code is majorly because of the platforms like Google Pay, we have Paytm, we have PhonePe. The next point which is important over here is, sir, transaction on the UPI. If I talk about total number of transactions, please pay attention. I'm talking about total number of transactions. So, transaction on UPI has increased 34% year on year basis, and the value is $17.89 billion, and the total transaction value has also increased by 22%, and the value is 23.95 lakh crores in April 2025. I would say this is the data for your reference. Don't memorize it, because if we will be going for the examination in July, we will remember the data of June only, but this is for your reference, so that you have a reference कि April में हालत क्या थी. इसी के रेफरेंस के साथ साथ I am also giving you the idea with respect to March. Why I am giving you the idea with respect to March? Because there is a bit, I would say, surprising event which has been witnessed under UPI. So on a sequential basis, the number of transaction has dropped down by 2.2% in comparison to March. The value of transaction has dropped down by 3.3% in comparison to March 2025, and the reason which was given is, that is, sir, glitch. Industrial experts, they have come up with the reason why UPI transactions in the month of April has decreased because of the technical glitches, or I would say number of technical glitches which have been witnessed in the month of April, due to which these transactions have decreased. So nothing to worry. Basically उनके कहने का मतलब है, टेंशन मत लो, UPI is doing well, don't worry, but yes, there is a decrease in comparison to March. Now, in financial year 2024-25, अब ये तो financial year complete हो गया, so you have to learn this data. In financial year 2024-25, the value of transaction increased 30%. So overall, if I compare it with the previous financial year 2023-24, your value of transaction has increased by 30%, and the value of transaction was, value का मतलब पैसा, कितना पैसा ट्रांसफर हुआ, that was 2,60,000 crore rupees, that is 260 lakh crore rupees. I'm sorry for that, 260 lakh crore rupees compared to almost 200 lakh crore rupees in the financial year 2023-24. Not only this, in terms of volume, we have witnessed an increase of 42%, which has increased from 131 billion transactions to 185 billion transactions. Is it clear, everyone? So this data is important. You can use this data even in your descriptive answer writing. Whenever you are writing an answer related to digital payment, maybe UPI, you can obviously mention this data, which shows the UPI growth. It is consistent and it is growing at a pretty high rate. If I say year on year basis, that is a point. Fine, guys. Moving on to the next. The last point says finance minister has recently asked the stakeholders like NPCI, banks, UPI transaction, or I would say UPI service providers, that you should try your level best, We should reach to a level of 1 billion UPI transactions per day. यानी कि ये जो आपने लिखा है 185 billion transactions, our finance minister is aiming to have 365 billion transactions in 1 year. एक दिन में 1 बिलियन, तो भैया 365 दिनों में 365 बिलियन. Is it clear, everyone? तो जिसको नहीं समझ आ रहा, I'll just let them know. Whenever we talk about volume means number of transaction. कि भैया कितनी नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजेक्शन्स हुई, आपने, मैंने, हम सब ने ट्रांजेक्शन्स की. द नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजेक्शन्स वर 185.85 बिलियन in 1 year, which has been done by the entire residents of the nation. ठीक है. Second is the amount which has been transferred, the amount transaction which has been done, that is what? So that is 260 lakh crore rupees. Is it clear now? Is it clear now? Mrinal, I hope your doubt is clear. I hope your doubt is clear, and if your doubt is clear, let's move on to the next point. The next point is UPI has witnessed undoubtedly an unexpected, or I would say exponential growth in the recent years. Again, I have given you one more data for your reference, again for your descriptive part. Again, you have to learn it. What does it say? It says that between financial year 2019-20 to 2024-25, UPI transaction has witnessed a growth of, or I would say compound annual growth rate of 72%. And in the last 3 years alone, 250 million new users and 55 million new merchants have been onboarded. So this shows the intensity and depth of digital payments in India. Is this point clear? Is this point clear? ये वही न्यूज़ है तुषार, शायद आपने PDF नहीं पढ़ी. I think you haven't gone through with the entire PDF, Tushar. ये वही न्यूज़ है. If you would have seen the PDF completely, you might have, or you might be able to recognize that these were the two news which were not discussed in the previous session. ठीक है जी? I think two ही है. नहीं, three थी. हाँ, two ही है. That's it. Now let's start with today's news. 2 पेंडिंग थी, 2 आज नहीं लेके आया हूँ, कवर करते हैं. पहली मास्टर डायरेक्शन, छोटा सा मास्टर डायरेक्शन है, ज्यादा दिमाग चलाएंगे नहीं. वी विल बी टारगेटिंग पॉइंट टू पॉइंट विच कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द एग्जामिनेशन. सो व्हाट इज द master direction, or what is the notification which has been published by RBI? RBI has introduced framework for formulation of regulations to standardize the regulatory formation and public feedback process. What does it means? देखो, we have studied n number of master directions in the past few days or in the past few months, depending आपने कब से join किया. ठीक? Whenever we discuss the master direction, you might have heard, I always come up with this statement that RBI has given a draft for this particular master direction. RBI has given a draft for this particular master direction. After giving the draft, RBI asked for public feedback, RBI asked for public opinion, and once the public opinion, public feedback is received, then RBI analyze the feedback and comes up with the final guidelines. I hope you agree. Guys, I hope you agree. You all know that, ना? ऐसा ही तो होता है. जैसे अगर मैं recently बात करूं, we talked about liquidity coverage ratio. तो liquidity coverage ratio से related जो guidelines आई, उससे पहले RBI has given the draft on this. For that matter, if you remember, we have discussed counter cyclical capital buffer. If you remember, उसके लिए भी first RBI gave a draft. Draft का मतलब RBI say, I am planning to do this, and I invite all the stakeholders which are going to be impacted due to this change. Please come in front, give your feedback, give your suggestions, and if I think or if I feel your suggestions, your feedbacks are worthy, this is going to impact you in a negative manner, I will be reviewing it, I will be changing it. सही है ना? But ये जो प्रोसेस है, इट वॉज नॉट स्टैंडर्डाइज, इट वॉज वेरी, आई वुड से, आज आरबीआई ने इशू किया ड्राफ्ट, फिर पब्लिक से फीडबैक ली, फिर काफी समय लग गया और उसके बाद फाइनल गाइडलाइंस आई। लेकिन अब आरबीआई ने इसे स्टैंडर्डाइज करने की कोशिश की है इन ऑर्डर टू डू दिस, और इन ऑर्डर टू कम अप विद द स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन, और इन ऑर्डर टू सेट द प्रोसेस फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर सिनेरियो, RBI has come up with this particular notification which we are going to discuss. So RBI will publish the draft regulations on its website along with the statement of particulars. तो RBI ने कहा, if I am going to come up with any kind of revision, any kind of amendment, any kind of new addition in regulation policies, then I will be coming up with new press release, I will be coming up with new notifications. But before I change anything, before I change the rules and regulations, before I come up with new rules and regulations which are going to impact the general economy, or which is going to impact in general the entire economy, then first I'll give a draft on my website, and once I give the draft, I will ask the stakeholders, read the draft, give your feedback, and I will review your feedback, and if any changes are required, I will be doing it. So second point says the draft will be open for public comments, and public comments or stakeholder comments will be invited, or this draft will be available for minimum 21 days. तो भैया ये है क्वेश्चन जो एग्जाम में आएगा. RBI has set the timeline that if I have come up with a draft, I will be waiting for public feedback, and I will be giving at least 21 days so that public can come up with their feedback. Second point is, after receiving the feedback, after receiving the comments from the public, RBI will consider the feedback, and RBI will, after considering the feedback, RBI will publish a general statement of response along with the final regulation on its website. तो RBI आपकी feedback को पढ़ेगा, उस feedback में कुछ RBI को important लगेगा, so RBI will implement those feedbacks in the draft, change the draft and come up with the final guidelines which are going to be implemented. But ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि feedback were so harsh, feedbacks were so hard, or feedbacks were so against the draft that RBI was forced, not forced externally, but due to those feedbacks, RBI felt and forced from itself to revise or to revamp the entire draft. And if RBI is revising the entire draft, then RBI will come up with a new draft. Then that new draft will be again open for public inputs, and then finally it will be implemented. So the statement will include what, sir? It will include enabling provisions. That means RBI want to revise this regulation as per so and so section, so and so act. For example, RBI revise the norms for the banking sector, and majority norms related to banking sector are revised under Banking Regulation Act 1949. So that section number, that act will be mentioned. This is the first component of your draft. Second will be objectives will be discussed, or objectives will be mentioned, that what are the objectives of the regulations, and the third point is guidance from the international bodies. That means the international bodies, they have come up with certain suggestions. RBI may refer, if RBI making any change, then RBI may give the reference that this change has been done in reference to the recent standardization which has been done by whom, sir? Which has been done by IMF. Then RBI will come up with the implementation details, that how, when I am going to implement these guidelines, and what are going to be the timelines for receiving the public comments. Minimum 21 days, maximum will be decided by RBI, and RBI will mention those timelines in that particular circular itself. Is this point clear, guys? So the framework is basically introduced with the sole motive. And what is the motive behind? So the motive behind is there will be a formulation of regulation, there will be a standardized process, and this process will be applicable for amendments, revision, introduction of new regulations, directions, guidelines, notifications, orders, policies, specifications, and whatnot. Clear, guys? Public consultation, so public will be consulted, public will be given a time, and what will be the time which is going to be given to the public? So minimum 21 days. These are the objectives. As always, I have worked for you and I have highlighted the important objectives which will be mentioned. The objectives behind RBI demand to revise the guideline will also be mentioned, which will include, the statement will include enabling provision, act, objectives, international standard reference, manner of implementation, timelines for receiving the comments. RBI shall provide at least 21 days to the public so that public can submit their comments. RBI shall reconsider, or RBI will consider the public feedback, and then RBI will come up with the final regulation. But if the feedback has forced RBI to revamp the entire document, then in that particular case RBI will again come up with a new draft. Again RBI will seek feedback from the public, and on the basis of second time received feedback, RBI will take the decision how, when to implement, when to pass the guidelines so that the implementation can be done. Impact analysis of the regulation. So RBI will be doing the impact analysis of the regulation as well. So before RBI come up with the finalization of the regulation, RBI will also check what is going to be the impact of these new rules. So that is known as what? So that is known as impact analysis of the regulation. Second point is amendment to the regulation. So any significant amendment to the regulation, if the regulation is already there, then also process is same, draft, feedback. If you are framing a new regulation, then also process is same, that is draft and then feedback. In case of a regulation which has been already presented by RBI, which has been already implemented by RBI, in that particular case, there will be periodical review, and there are certain periodical review guidelines. First one is the stated objective, that this organization or this rule, this regulation was framed for what objective. Then check that whether these objectives are fulfilled. Check if any court or tribunal orders are passed against the regulations or countering the regulations. Do our regulations in line with the global best practices? Is it relevant with the change in the environment? Environment means over here, is it relevant with the changing economic structure of the country? If it is not relevant, then we should review it. What should be, do review the scope for reduction, any kind of resistance which is available or which is there in the regulation. For example, if RBI feel ki FPI limits are restricting the FPIs to increase their investment in India. So obviously what RBI will do? Sir, RBI will revise those limits in order to increase inflow of investment in the country. That is known as reduce resistance. Any other factor which can be considered by RBI on demand. But remember one thing, sir, this framework, which framework? Draft, feedback, final statement. This framework is not going to be implemented in each and every case. There are certain exceptions in this. The first exception I have is not applicable, which means on certain RBI decisions, on certain RBI procedures, this framework is not applicable. The first one is internal administration or organizational matter. If RBI is making any kind of internal change, administration change, organizational change, which is going to impact the employees of the RBI, for that particular reason, RBI will not ask for public feedback. It's quite obvious. So that is not included in this particular standard process. Second is a procedural matter which does not result in big change or impact on any existing regulation. तो आपने for example, if I say RBI has already come up with certain rules and regulations, and as per the size of economy, RBI has increased those limits. RBI has just increased those limits. So that will be termed as what? So that will be termed as a day-to-day procedure. If economy is growing, we have to change certain limits. So if in that particular case, इतना ज़्यादा time waste नहीं करेंगे. We will not come up with a draft. We will not look for the public feedback because it's quite obvious. You have to do it. Then do it. That's it. Third point is any regulation which is for a specific entity or group of entities but not general in nature. For example, RBI comes up with a regulation in terms of, let's say, penalty. RBI is planning to charge penalty on Axis Bank. For that particular reason, RBI will not ask public opinion. That will be done as per RBI understanding, as per RBI delivery. Got it, guys? So these are the conditions under which this framework is not applicable. Under which this framework is not applicable. Clear, guys? Is it clear? Are you with me, guys? Guys, are you with me? So gaye kya? Sleeping or what? Sleeping or what? Do reply. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Girish. Interest rate, penalty rates, in that particular case, it's a procedure. It's a day-to-day process of RBI, day-to-day operations of RBI. In that particular case, RBI will not go to public every time. Next point is very important. So, in some special cases, I'll take a very simple example, it will be clear to you. Demonetization. Let's suppose RBI is planning to demonetize 500 rupee note. RBI will seek the public feedback. Then I would say the objective behind coming up with this demonetization will be nullified. So in that scenario, RBI will not follow this framework, rather RBI will straight away come up with the guidelines that from tomorrow or from today midnight, 500 rupees note will be a piece of paper. It won't be used as currency of exchange. It won't be accepted as legal tender. So it will come up with the direct notice. That is the point. So in opinion of RBI, anything which is confidential, obviously no invitation from the public, no feedback from the public will be taken. Framework would defeat the objective. If RBI feels that I'm following the framework, then my objective behind coming up with this rules and regulations will be failed. Let's leave it. We will not go to the public, we'll directly implement it for reasons of public interest. कुछ ऐसी भी चीजें हैं, if RBI is taking some actions which are in the interest of the public but RBI do not want to share, that can also be ignored. And lastly, any urgent intervention. If any urgent intervention is required, RBI will not waste time in seeking the feedback and then reviewing it. RBI will directly publish the notice. RBI will directly implement it from the next day onwards. Is it clear now? Is it clear now? Done, guys? So this is all about your policy statement, that is framework for formulation of regulations. Framework for formulation of regulations. छोटी सी बात एक ही लाइन में बताता हूँ. RBI has set a standard that if I will be reviewing or I will be amending, I will be introducing new rules, new regulations, new policies, I will be following a process. First, I'll come up with a draft on my website, open that draft for public feedback, at least 21 days, maximum will be decided by RBI. Once I receive the feedback, I'll come up with the final guidelines. If I feel the feedback is changing the entire structure of my guideline, then I will be coming up with a new draft, new feedback, and then finally I'll come up with the legal guidelines. Is it clear? Give me a thumbs up if it is clear. Give me a thumbs up if it is clear. Give me yes, sir. Give me yes, sir, in the comment section, please. Are these policies formed with? See, many times RBI consult government in few cases, but few cases can be, or the few decisions can be taken, or majority decisions are taken by RBI independently. Depend करता ना. If as per RBI Act, Banking Regulation Act, if there are the powers which are shared between government and RBI, तो दोनों को होना ही पड़ेगा. और कुछ cases में RBI seek the consent of the government because it may impact the entire economic scenarios. So it depends case to case. It depends particular, or I would say it depends on the particular regulation which you are going to come forward with. ठीक है जी. Now let me allow me to open the most important phase of this session, and the most important phase of this session is, please pay attention, non-resident investment in debt instrument 2025. RBI has come up with master direction, and this master direction has been introduced by RBI on non-resident investment in debt instruments. It was first given in May 2025. Then it was updated recently on 8th of May 2025. So obviously I will be giving you the data, I will be giving you the entire discussion with respect to the latest wala part, that is with respect to the 8th May wala part. Okay? Let's discuss. Okay. Before I discuss all these terms, first of all, I would like to ask you a very simple point, a very simple question, and the question is, what do you mean by the word foreign investment? I'll go a bit fast, otherwise many of the students, they will say कि sir हमें तो basic concept आते हैं, क्यों पढ़ा रहे हो, क्यों time waste कर रहे हो? So I will be catering all of you, don't worry. So when a foreign entity invest outside their origin nation, they invest outside their origin nations, that is basically termed as what? So that is basically termed as foreign investment. If anyone from US, UK is investing in India, we call it as foreign investment. Now if the investment is done in order to set up a business, or investment is done in already existing business to handle or to look after the administration, management, and to earn profits from the operations, that is FDI. But if the foreign investment is done in the stock market, if the foreign investment is done in the financial instruments with the help of the stock market, and this investment is done with the sole motive of what? So this investment is done with the sole motive of trade profit. Trade profit ka matlab, purchase the share for 100. If the price increases to 120, let's sell it out, enjoy the profit of 20 rupees. This is known as foreign portfolio investment. This is known as foreign portfolio investment. I hope it's easy. Now the question is, so foreign portfolio investment is done in the equity instruments, that is your investment instruments, that are the shares. Along with that, foreign portfolio investment is done in the debt securities as well, or in the debt instruments as well. If you don't know what are debt instruments, so debt instruments, if I say in Hindi, these are, इनको कहते हैं उधारी का कागज. उधारी के कागज का मतलब government security. If government is in need of funds, government issue a government security which says, I promise to pay you so much fund with interest after so much time. Those are known as debt instruments. The moment I say debt instruments, it include the securities which are issued by central government. We call it as central government securities. Then the securities issued by state government, we call them as state government securities, and even the debt instrument issued by corporates, that means your companies and all, we call them as corporate debt securities. We call them as corporate debt securities. Corporate debt securities. Okay? I hope it's clear. Now, if a foreign portfolio investor is investing in India, then this investor can follow three different paths. This investors can follow three different paths. The first path, I call it as general. I call it as general route. Second path, I call it as VRR, voluntary retention route. Third, I call it as FAR, fully accessible route. Now the question is, कि sir foreign investor आ रहा है, and foreign investor is investing in Indian organization or Indian entity issued debt securities, and these instruments which are issued by the Indian entities, it is purchased by the foreign entities, then why we have three different paths? The reason is, whenever we talk about foreign portfolio investment, undoubtedly it is very important for an economy. Why? Because it's a source of foreign currency for nation like India, where we are always in high demand of the foreign currency. Secondly, this help in boosting our capital market. So I'll not say that it is not important. It is one of the very important. It is one of the very important factor for an economy. But it is volatile in nature. Today you are investing $20 million. You may run out. You may run out tomorrow. You may run out tomorrow, and that volatility in my capital market will impact my market performance. So being the regulator, being the authority to regulate, to manage, to monitor the entire country, I, as government of India, I come up with certain norms, certain conditions which you need to follow. And on the basis of these certain norms, certain conditions which are different for different routes, or which are different in implementation, has resulted in the formation of different routes. If I say actually there are 4 routes, I will be just drawing that 4 route, वरना कोई ना कोई कमेंट सेक्शन में लिख देगा सर आपको नहीं पता 4 रूट होते हैं, तो मैं बता रहा हूं मुझे पता है 4 रूट होते हैं. आई विल बी डिस्कसिंग 4th वन लेटर ऑन, वरना अभी आपके लिए इट विल बी वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग. ठीक है. What is general route? I'm just giving you an overview, then one by one we will be discussing about all these 3 routes in much detail. You are going to enjoy it, I assure you that. So what is general route? So general route basically means a foreign entity can invest in India, and the investment can be done as per the foreign entity will, without any commitment to stay. What I mean without any commitment to stay? So general route basically means I liked your securities, I invested in it. Now I'm feeling that I'm not earning the return which I was expecting. So bye-bye, I'm going back, I'm selling the securities and I'm disinvesting my investment. That is known as general route. But what is VRR? So VRR means voluntary retention route. Retention means you are going to stay. And for what period you are going to stay, I will be discussing it. But you are going to stay means we are inviting the foreign portfolio investment with a commitment. Investment with a commitment, and that commitment basically defines what? Sir, it basically defines the voluntary retention route, and we call this as committed portfolio. We call this investment as committed portfolio size. This means the commitment you have done, that my portfolio. What is your portfolio? So portfolio means the financial instruments, collection of financial instruments in very layman language. That is a portfolio. So committed portfolio size, that means here the size of portfolio is predefined and the investor is committed to invest that amount for a given timelines, which we will be discussing. Third is FAR. As the name suggests, fully accessible route. Fully accessible route means you are the boss, do whatever you want to. But if government is making you the boss and asking you to do whatever you want, then government will not allow you to invest in all these debt instruments. Government on one side giving you with immense benefits, on the other side government will say that it is valid only and only for specific securities. What I am trying to say, government ne kaha only 20-year bond. I hope you understand. 20-year bond ka matlab, if government has issued a debt instrument against which government is borrowing a loan, for 20 years, and that is only allowed under fully accessible route, which means the foreign investors will be allowed to invest only and only in these bonds alone. All other instruments which are available in the market are not available for you if you are coming. Through which route, sir? If you are coming through which route, then my answer would be if you are coming through the fully accessible route. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया, समझ आ गया, ठीक है. So today our target is general route. Tomorrow in the end I'll discuss, in my next class I'll discuss VRR as well as FAR. I'm not discussing the entire news today itself, because the moment I'll start it, you'll feel that heat कि हाँ यार थोड़ा difficult है, difficult in the terms of collection of data काफी ज़्यादा है. So let's collect it in 2 days. today I will be discussing only general route, and tomorrow I will be discussing VRR. Matlab in my next class I will be discussing VRR and FAR. Please pay attention, guys. Please pay attention on the screen. So, RBI has issued the directions in exercise of powers under the section so and so of Foreign Exchange Management Act as well as the section 45 of RBI Act 1934. means जो मैंने आपको बताया था कि if RBI is coming with a master direction, RBI will give the reference that under what section or act, with the help of which I would say with the help of the power given to RBI under so and so section and act, I am taking this particular decision. I am taking this particular decision. इसमें तीन चीजें important है. पहली, these directions will be called as Master Direction Reserve Bank of India Non-Resident Investment in Debt Instrument. These directions are applicable from the day, that is 8th of May itself, when it was presented. These directions shall be applicable to all the transactions by eligible non-resident debt instruments. So this is applicable for all the transactions done by eligible non-resident in the debt instruments of the country. Got it? Moving on to the first point. So don't think about what is VRR much. Don't think about what is FAR much. Just think about GAR. That is what? General route. General route means general route of investment that allows the foreign portfolio investor to invest in government securities, that is center as well as state government securities, as well as the corporate debt securities, which means the debt instruments issued by companies. I'm talking about private companies, I'm talking about government owned companies, everyone. By FPIs to specified investment limits and macro prudential limits. अब आया point कि सर ये general route है. In this route we allow you to invest, and there is no time boundation. But along with no time boundation, there are certain limits which you need to understand. The first limit I have is, sir, if I talk about foreign portfolio investment, the total foreign portfolio investment done in the central government security is 6% of the total central government securities. 6% of the total central government securities, except what, sir? Except those securities which are issued under FAR, that is specified securities. So central government has issued some specified securities as well. I'll ignore it. Beside that specific security or specified security, 6% is the limit that can be invested in total by the foreign portfolio investors. But in case of state government, so this limit is 2% of state government securities. It is going to be 2% in case of state government securities, and in case of corporate world, in case of corporate debt securities, it is 15% of corporate debt securities. ठीक है, अभी ऐसे समझ आएगा नहीं, इसको ध्यान से समझते जाना एक एक करके. आई एम ओपनिंग अप the first slide. I'm writing over here, this is first slide. So in the financial year 2024-25, in the financial year 2024-25, government has issued the debt instruments. The total value of government securities issued by central government. So central government security value is, let's say, our budget is deficit always. I'm taking a big example. Let's say 5 lakh crore rupees is the value of central government securities which are issued in 2024-25. Then we have 28 states. So the state government securities, that means the sum of government securities issued by all the states in the same financial year is, let's say, 2 lakh crore rupees. Lastly, if I say corporate debt securities, that means all the companies in the country, all the public companies in the country, they collectively issue a debt instrument of value 10 lakh crore rupees. ठीक है जी? This is a point. Now, in this financial year, the investment which will be done by FPI means by the entire world beside India, the investment which can be done, sir, in case of center government, it is 6%, and in this 5 lakh crore, I have not included the specified securities. I repeat, in this 5 lakh crore, I have not included the specified securities, and those specified securities are basically for this, those are basically for FAR, that is fully accessible route. Here the limit is 2%. Here the limit is 10 lakh crore rupees, and for 10 lakh crore rupees, what was the limit? 15%, if I'm not wrong. इसका मतलब ये हुआ, the total foreign portfolio investment which can be done in the central government securities is 6% of 5 lakh crore. 6% of 5 lakh crore. So calculate कर लो. I think it's going to be, चलो इसको 50 कर लें, calculations आसान हो जाएगी. Sorry, I'll take it 50, I'll take it 20, I'll take it 100. ठीक है? So 6% of 50 lakh crore is going to be what? Sir, it is going to be 3 lakh crore rupees. So 3 lakh crore rupees is the maximum limit which can be invested by the foreign portfolio investors. ठीक? Here the limit will be what? So if I talk about the limit over here, 20 lakh crore I'm talking about. So the limit comes out to be 0.4 lakh crore rupees. This is the amount which can be invested by the foreign portfolio investor. And in this case, it is going to be 100 lakh crore, 15%, that is 15 lakh crore rupees can be the maximum investment which can be done by FPI. Give me yes sir if it is correct. आपको लग रहा होगा सर इतना आसान है. Why you are wasting so much time? Give me some time, things will change. Give me some time, things will change. ठीक है? Coming back to the point. So this is what it is written on the screen. Central government securities other than those included as specified securities. You know one thing, when we talk about central government securities or we talk about government securities, they can be categorized into two categories. One is short term, other one is long term. One is short term and other one is long term. So in this case where I have written central government securities, I'm talking about both. I'm talking about long term as well as short term. If I talk about the value, overall value, I include short term as well as long term. Same for state government as well. Got it? Or for that matter, state for corporate debt securities as well. Sabke case mein I have included all the types of securities in this particular case. Moving on to the next point. The next point says, so in case of general route, there is a term known as minimum residual maturity requirement. I'll first discuss with you what is maturity. I'll take an example. So let's say in 2025, government has issued a long-term government security with a time period of 10 years. Time period of 10 years means government is borrowing loan. For 10 years. And this instrument against which government has borrowed the loan, this government security which has been issued, and the face value is 10,000. So I am an individual. I have paid 10,000 rupees to RBI, which will reach to government obviously because RBI is issuing the securities on the behalf of the government, and government will give me this piece of paper. Where it is written 10% per annum and 10 years, which means I will be receiving 10% interest every year, and after 10 years I will be reaching back to the government. I'll return their piece of paper and I'll receive my face value, that is 10,000 rupees. So ये जो 10 साल mention किए गए हैं, what is this? So this is maturity period. This is maturity period. So 2025 में an instrument was issued and this instrument is going to mature in 2035. This instrument is going to mature in 2035. Let's suppose today we are at 2031. We are at 2031. So what is the left time period, guys? What is the time period left for the security to get mature? So the time period which is left for the security to get mature is 4 years. So this 4 years is known as residual. Residual का मतलब क्या होता है? बचा हुआ. Residual is what? That is left out. बचा हुआ. So residual maturity period or residual maturity timelines, whatever you say. ठीक. अब यहाँ पर condition क्या है? So the condition says, in case of general route, investment done in the government securities, which means in the center as well as state government securities, first condition is minimum residual maturity requirement. In case of an FPI will invest in central government securities and state government securities without any restriction. That means we don't care what is the residual maturity. Whatever is the residual maturity, you are allowed to invest. Whatever is the residual maturity, you are allowed to invest. But in case of short-term investment, there is a limit. What is the limit over here? Investment by FPI in the central government securities and state government securities with a residual maturity of up to 1 year, there is a limit of what? 30% of the total investment of FPI in each category. 30% of the total investment of FPI in each category. I'll give you the answer for this. What does this say? I'm continuing my same example, okay? So, if I say central government security has issued government securities of 50 lakh crore rupees. I think this was the data I have taken. Out of this 50 lakh crore rupees, let's say 40 lakh crore rupees is raised. 40 lakh crore rupees is raised through long-term securities. It is raised through long-term securities. I can say that. And rest 10 lakh crore rupees, or let's not do in this manner, otherwise you will get confused. So these are the total securities issued. So these securities of value more than 40 lakh crore rupees, it is going to mature, or the maturity period is greater than 1 year. Maturity period is greater than 1 year. But for 10 lakh crore rupees, maturity period is up to 1 year, which means minimum residual maturity is up to 1 year. If the minimum residual maturity is for up to 1 year, in that particular case there is a limit. And what is the limit? That is 30%. What is the limit? That is 30%. Now you need to understand what 30% I am talking about. What is this 30% I am talking about? So this 30% is related to what? So this 30% is related to investment by an FPI in central government and state government securities with residual maturity up to 1 year shall not exceed 30% of the total investment of FPI in each category. Matlab, what I am trying to say, come back to the point. I say, ये जो 30% का limit है ना, this 30% is not on this 10 lakh crore rupees. It is not on this 10 lakh crore rupees. It is on what? So it is on FPI. Let's suppose FPI is investing 10 crore rupees or 10 lakh crore rupees. Out of this 10 lakh crore rupees, up to 30% can be invested in these securities, and rest of the funds will be invested in these securities, which means out of your total investment, your portfolio can have only up to 30% of the securities which possess minimum residual maturity period less than 1 year. Is it clear? समझ आया? अगर मैं ये एग्जाम्पल नहीं लेता, यू माइट हैव फेल्ट दैट कि ये जो 10 लाख करोड़ है ना सर, उसमें से आप बात कर रहे हो 30%. नो, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट. पहली लिमिट क्या थी? सर पहली लिमिट थी कि जो एफपीआई आएगा वो कितना इन्वेस्ट करेगा, दैट विल इन्वेस्ट अप टू 6%, अप टू 6%। अब उसमें ये जो एफपीआई है, उसमें ये जो एफपीआई है, उस एफपीआई की जो इन्वेस्टमेंट वैल्यू है वो कितनी है, 10 लाख करोड़। उस 10 लाख करोड़ में, उस 10 लाख करोड़ में अगर मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट या मैं पोर्टफोलियो देखूं अपने एफपीआई का, उसके पोर्टफोलियो में 30% से ज्यादा शॉर्ट टर्म सिक्योरिटीज नहीं हो सकती, 30% से ज्यादा शॉर्ट टर्म सिक्योरिटीज नहीं हो सकती। इफ इट इज क्लियर गिव मी यस सर, इफ इट इज क्लियर गिव मी यस सर। इफ इट इज क्लियर गिव मी यस सर। ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया। चलो अगले पॉइंट पे बढ़ते हैं। अगले पॉइंट के लिए फिर वापस चलते हैं। अगले पॉइंट पे बढ़ने के लिए आई हैव अ पॉइंट, एज आई मेंशन एन नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स कि सर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज आर ऑफ वैल्यू 50 लाख करोड़। ठीक है जी, विच इंक्लूड शॉर्ट टर्म एज वेल एज लॉन्ग टर्म। वन ऑफ द, it has multiple forms, different maturity period securities which are issued, and their total sum is 50 lakh crore rupees. One out of all the issues is of 10 years maturity, is of 10 years maturity, and this 10 years maturity, this 10 years maturity is issued for a value of, it is issued for a value of 10 lakh crores. इट इज इशूड फॉर अ वैल्यू ऑफ 10 लाख करोड़। बाकी ये 20 साल की आएगी, यहाँ पे आई हैव 30 years, here I have maybe 5 years, here I have maybe 3 years, maybe 2 years, maybe 6 months, whatever the case is। ठीक है जी, whatever the case is। Now out of this single issue, out of this single issue, FPI limit is, out of this single issue, FPIs they can invest only and only 30% of this issue value। FPI can invest only and only 30% of this particular issue value। एक तो आपको ओवरऑल जो टारगेट है 6% का वो तो रखना ही रखना है, वो तो आपको मेंटेन करना ही करना है। लेकिन अगर कोई पर्टिकुलर इशू है, इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट अ सिंगल इशू, इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट अ पर्टिकुलर इशू, इन दैट पर्टिकुलर इशू, in that particular issue the value, in that particular issue the value is what? So that is 30%. Why? Sir, if FPI has invested 100% in a particular government security, and if FPI disinvests its investment, the entire bond, the entire security will die down, the entire security will die down, and that is the reason this particular limit is set. That is the reason this particular limit is set. So these are the three terms which you need to remember, I just discussed with you। एक बार रिवाइज करोगे याद हो जाएगा, प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी, समझ आ गया होगा। ठीक है, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट। द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट सेज कंसंट्रेशन लिमिट, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज बाय एन एफपीआई shall not exceed 15% of prevailing investment limit of each category in case of long term FPIs and 10% prevailing limit in case of other FPIs। So what does it mean? It means कि सर अगर एक FPI है and that FPI is investing in the central government securities and state government securities, in that particular case there is a limit, there is a condition that it should not exceed 15% of the prevailing investment limit for each category, 15% of prevailing investment limit for each category, for each category, or on the other side you can take it 10% of the prevailing investment limit for the other FPIs, for the other FPIs। लॉन्ग टर्म में जो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट लिमिट है दैट इज 15%, लॉन्ग टर्म में जो इन्वेस्टमेंट लिमिट है दैट इज 15%, एंड फॉर अदर FPIs, and for other FPIs it is what value? So that is 10%, that is what? So that is 10%। is this point clear guys? Clear हो गया? चलो, now let's look out the things। Sir, in case of general route, now I'll talk about the corporate। in case of corporate debt, in case of corporate debt, it is easy to understand why। Sir, in case of corporate debt, minimum residual maturity requirement is an FPI may invest only in corporate debt securities with original or residual maturity of more than 1 year। You are only allowed to invest if the maturity is more than 1 year। but on the other side, in case of short term investment or any kind of concentration limit, so that is not mentioned, unlike government security limits. Unlike government security limits. In case of issue-wise limit, if I talk about issue-wise limit, I say Infosys has issued 10 years bond. Infosys has issued 10-year debt instrument of total value 1 lakh crore. In this total value of 1 lakh crore, FPI can be up to 50%. FPI can be up to 50%. जो limit state के case में थी 30% थी. In case of center government, this limit was 30%, but in this case it has increased to. But in this case it has increased to what value? Sir, in this particular case it has increased to 50% value. This is the only difference which you need to remember. Rest all the story is same. Rest all the story is same. Is it clear now? Is it clear? Okay. Moving on to the last point, sir, FPI investment in the unlisted corporate debt securities in the form of non-convertible debentures or bond issued by private or public or private companies shall be subjected to end use restriction on investment in real estate business, capital market and purchase of land. What does it mean? It means, ध्यान से देखना, if FPI has invested in unlisted corporate debt security. Unlisted means it is not listed on the stock exchange. You cannot trade in the stock market because these securities, they are not listed. So in case of unlisted corporate debt securities, the investment done by FPI will be utilized. वो पैसा आया, मान लो ये unlisted जो corporate debt securities है, it has been issued by company X. So the company X has received the funds, but company X will use these funds only and only in real estate, use these funds only and only in real estate business or in capital market or in purchase of land, क्योंकि ये condition given है. So I repeat, if the FPI is done, if the foreign portfolio investment is done in, it is done in unlisted debt instruments. I'm talking about which? Sir, I'm talking about unlisted corporate debt securities. In that particular case, the amount which is invested, it will be utilized specifically. And what specific areas where it is going to be utilized? So the specific areas in which it can be utilized, that is purchase of land, real estate investment, purchase of land, real estate investment, as well as one more thing, that is capital market. Got it, guys? Got it? Clear? Last but not the least is, sir, in case of FPI, there are certain conditions where FPI is not allowed to invest in certain types of corporate debt securities, which means these are the exceptions. Corporate debt securities with any optionality. Options समझ आता है? You have a debt instrument with an option to sell the security. If it is a security where the option is given either to sell or buy, FPI is not allowed. Debt mutual fund scheme with maturity duration of portfolio less than 1 year. So debt mutual fund with maturity less than 1 year, not allowed. Partly paid debt instrument, मतलब आपने एक debt instrument खरीदा 10,000 का, you have paid only 5,000 and rest of the 5,000 loan will be given after 2 years. So that kind of instrument is also not allowed for foreign portfolio investment. Last is amortized corporate debt instrument where the duration of the instrument is up to 1 year. Amortized का मतलब क्या होता है? Where you invest on regular basis, generally on monthly basis. You are investing 10,000 every month and it becomes total 1,20,000. So in that particular case also, FPI is not allowed. Now, we have certain, these are the exceptions and these are the exemptions. In case of exemptions, minimum residual maturity requirement and issue-wise limit shall not apply to investments by FPI in certain securities. What are exemptions? Exemption का मतलब क्या होता है? Exemption का मतलब है कि we are giving you exemption on limits. That means even if you are FPI, there will be no limit in terms of issue-wise, in terms of your portfolio size, no limit will be there. So if FPI is investing in security receipts which are issued by ARCs, there is no limit. ARC क्या issue करती है? Sir, ARC they purchase what? Sir, ARCs they purchase NPS from the bank, and against those NPS they issue the security, or they issue these security receipts. So what is my aim? My aim as a bank, my aim as a country, my aim as a government is to recover my NPA, and ARC is selling the security receipts in order to recover the NPA, and government want that the investment should be high in that particular case. That is the reason government has said there is no limit, come and invest as much as you can. Debt instruments issued by an entity under corporate insolvency, if a company is under corporate insolvency, or if a company has issued a bond, but either its principal or its interest is defaulted, it is not paid, that will be known as default bond. So government is allowing the FPI that you can invest as much as you can in the defaulted bonds. Is it clear, everyone? So this is known as what? So this is basically known as your general route, or we call it as general route of FPI investment in debt securities. In the next class, we'll discuss the voluntary route or voluntary retention route, as well as we'll discuss the FAR. But before coming, please do construct a table where you will be mentioning all the limits as I discussed. Do construct a table where you will be mentioning all the limits as I discussed, because a direct question on these limits is going to be asked, or it is expected that it will be asked, or it can be asked in the examination for sure. Is this point clear, guys? If it is clear, just give me yes, sir. That will be all from my side in this particular session. We'll be continuing with this particular master direction in the next class as well. I'm pretty sure you have enjoyed it, but don't forget to revise it before you leave. But before I conclude the discussion, if you want to download the PDF of this session, guys, this PDF or the PDF of this particular session is available on my Telegram channel. But before I leave, I have a very important news to give, or a very important information to share. If you want to clear your RBI Grade B examination in this very attempt, do subscribe to Testbook courses, do subscribe to the Testbook platform, where you will get concise, up-to-date material. You get the mock test, you get one-on-one mentorship session with your faculty members, and most importantly, you get the descriptive answer writing platform, which is almost as same as that which you are going to witness in your phase 2 mains examination. So do subscribe to Testbook application, use code MADHAV while making the purchase in order to enjoy maximum discount. If you use this code, you will be able to enjoy maximum discount. Last but not the least, if you purchase this course, you have 30 more minutes. This offer is valid from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. You have 30 more minutes. If you purchase this course in next 30 minutes, then you will be eligible to win. You will be eligible to win a lucky draw, or you may win a gift under this particular lucky draw, where you can have a chance to win laptop, iPad, or maybe mobile phone. But one thing which I haven't shared with you is, this is very important, that is, if you clear this examination up till phase 2, that means if you have cleared phase 1, you have cleared phase 2, in that particular case, Testbook application or Testbook platform will refund 100% of your fees. So if you qualify for interview, your 100% fees will be refunded by our platform. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Do find my PDF on this particular Telegram channel, and I'm pretty sure you are going to enjoy the PDF. You are going to revise it once again so that we can cover this news in the very next session itself. Do not forget to share the feedback in the comment section after this video, that have you enjoyed the topic, that is foreign portfolio investment. Yet it is not complete, but yes, in the next class it will be completed. Thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you in the next session. Bye bye, guys. Take care. God bless you. See you soon. Bye bye.